What is going on, Crimson Tide fans? It is a massive recruiting day here for Alabama. Two targets on the offensive side of the ball are set to make their commitment announcement later this evening. So we're going to look at the offensive side of the ball and some targets, some current commits, and even some flip targets here for the Crimson Tide. You can call it a mock recruiting class, but I'm not making any predictions. We're just kind of going off of feel and going off of what has already been reported by 247 on 3 and others out there as well. So if you guys also want us to do the same exact video on the defensive side of the ball, go ahead and drop a like on today's video for me. We're trying to beat our like number from June of 2024, so help me out. Like today's video. If every single person that likes this video today, or that is watching this video likes it, we will be able to beat that June of 2024 like number, so help me out. Like today's video right now. All right, let's start off at the quarterback spot. You have Jett Thomalla already committed to Alabama, 6'4", 205. There was a long time where we were kind of wondering if Alabama was going to have a quarterback in this recruiting class, where they were able to get Jett Thomalla, able to flip him from Iowa State right before, actually, he was out in California for the Elite 11 competition. And right before that got started, he ended up flipping to Alabama. He's ranked right now at number 232 overall, the number 16 quarterback, and the number 1 player out of the state of Nebraska. All in all, coming off the recruiting class from last year of Keelan Russell, this is about as good as you could get in terms of, when you're not going to land a massive, 5-star, top-ranked guy after you land the number 2 player coming out of high school last year. You got to take into consideration NIL, the revenue sharing aspect and stuff like that. You're going to have to get somebody that will take a little bit less to, come into Alabama's 2026 class. But as reported by 247, I believe was the first one, and then on 3 after that, Alabama's still considering going after another quarterback in this class. And the two names that we've been talking about a lot here is Matt Ponatoski, and most recently as well, Taden Kawa. Now, of note, Ponatoski seems like, Kentucky might be the team in the lead right now. He took that visit, I believe it was like 2 Mondays ago or something like that, to Kentucky. And then Oregon as well. He took that official visit to Oregon on the 20th, but Oregon actually just got a commitment from Bryson Beaver, which was another guy that Alabama ended up offering as well. So there's a chance Matt Ponatoski does not land in this recruiting class for the Crimson Tide. Kentucky seems like the team there. So Taden Kawa really does seem like the guy. If Alabama does indeed go after and land a second quarterback, Taden Kawa might be that guy. All right, Alabama recently got a flip from Javari Barnett, flipped from Illinois this past week, actually, at that running back spot. Number 30 running back in the country right now, and I know a lot of people were kind of freaking out. It's kind of when the freak out started because, Alabama landed a 3-star. Well, yes, you did get a 3-star, but there's also an opportunity that you could land the commitment of E.J. Crowell today, this evening. 5 p.m. Central Time is when he is going to make that commitment announcement. And, really Alabama has been the longtime favorite here, it seems like, for E.J. Crowell. And really, depending on what site you're looking at, he should be a 5-star. Ranked right now as the number 33 player overall in the 247 Sports composite rankings. I think he's like in the top 20 or something like that on 3, which the way they, do their recruiting rankings right now, they still technically don't have him as a 5-star. But at the end of the day, this guy is a 5-star talent, the number 3 player out of the state of Alabama. Alabama already has, as we'll talk about on tomorrow's video, Zion Gibson. He's the number 4 player out of the state of Alabama. Good opportunity for the Crimson Tide to land the top 4 players in the state. So if you guys want Alabama to land E.J. Crowell in this class, get down there to the pinned comment and spam those EJs for me. He commits tonight. So if he does pick the Crimson Tide, we'll put a short out for you guys, so do not miss out on that as well. Now, as of right now, Alabama does not have a wide receiver committed to the class yet, but they got an opportunity here to land, a couple of really good wide receivers. Cederian Morgan, the number 2 wide receiver in the land right now, and the number 1 player out of the state of Alabama. He's been predicted to Alabama. All three of these guys, Owen Cable, Brian Williams Jr., and Cederian Morgan, have all been predicted to Alabama. So you're looking at two guys who are a little bit lower rated, but Owen Cable, he ran that really nice 4.4 40. Seemed like the coaching staff really liked what he did at camp. Brian Williams Jr., kind of the same story there as well. So you can get a 5-star in Cederian Morgan. You're going to have to put a little bit of money into that, but then you also kind of go on the lower end, Owen Cable, Brian Williams Jr. Maybe those guys can be developmental type of pieces as well, and they're probably going to take a little bit less money as well. So, that's just something that you have to take into consideration with NIL and revenue sharing these days. The recruiting classes are going to be a little bit different than they used to be. You're going to have a couple 5-stars. You're going to have a couple 3-stars, but then you're going to have a lot of 4-stars. That's probably just what it's going to be coming up here in the near future. But 3 straight days with a possibility right there for Alabama to land receivers in this class. You also have 2 other players. Kenny Darby right now is currently committed to LSU, but there's an opportunity. I think it was July 4th was that date that he's actually going to make his final commitment decision between Alabama and LSU. And then you also have Booby Feaster as well. He's the number 4 wide receiver in this class. Kind of seems like Texas A&M is the trend there for Booby Feaster, but it seemed like he had a really good time at Alabama, but, if you're going to get Cederian Morgan, that's going to cost a lot. I don't know if you're really going to be able to get Booby Feaster as well in this class. Now, like I said at the beginning of today's show, we are trying to beat our like number from June of 2024. Alabama's trying to get better year after year. We're also trying to get better year after year here at the Alabama Football Report. To help me out, we are 393 likes away from beating that number. If everybody watching this video likes this video today, we can absolutely crush that, and we can show the bosses that you guys like what we're doing here. So help me out. Like today's video for me right now. All right, another player who is set to commit tonight is Mack Sutter. I figured out how to pronounce his names. I hit up my boy over at On3, and he let me know it was Sutter, like suit, or you know what I'm saying there. Anyways, Mack Sutter set to commit tonight at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, the number 1 player out of the state of Illinois. It seems like Ohio State, Alabama, Ole Miss, Illinois are the 4 teams that at least, he ended up making official visits to. We'll see. It kind of seems like Alabama and Ohio State are really the top 2 teams there for him. But 6'5", 230 pounds, this is going to be a guy that, can be a dynamic playmaker in this Alabama offense, which really does love to feature the tight ends. Maybe didn't see it as much last year as you would have liked to, but I think as you get some more playmaking tight end type of players in there, you're going to see it a whole lot more, especially with Ryan Grubb calling the plays on offense here as well. Couple more targets that I just wanted to talk about at that tight end position. You have Caden Prothro. He is a 5-star, the number 3 tight end in this class. Look, you're probably not going to get Caden Prothro at the end of the day. Yeah, sure, it does kind of suck, but it is what it is. You got to do the roster management stuff. Roman Voss ended up committing to Minnesota, hometown kid there, so he's kind of going to be their face of their recruiting class. And then Xavier Tiller also, I believe it was last week, ended up committing to Florida State. So 3 guys there. Maybe you flip Tiller away from Florida State, but I also don't see a world where Caden Prothro or Roman Voss end up committing to Alabama's 2026 recruiting class. Now to the offensive line before we get out of here. Currently right now, you have Sam Utu and Chris Booker. Now it seems like all the reporting, Alabama wants to go after at least 1 more offensive lineman in this class. And, when it comes to Utu, he's a guy that, he's listed as an interior offensive lineman, but he can play both inside and outside. Chris Booker, he's really kind of flown up the recruiting rankings here this summer. I think originally when he committed, he was in the 400s or the 500s or something like that. Now he's up 287 overall. Really like the size you get from both of these guys as well. Sam Utu, I think he's probably, bigger than most of the guys that you recruited last year. And then Chris Booker's another guy. He easily add 30 pounds onto that frame at 6'4". He's a really big guy. Also, Alabama's doing a phenomenal job recruiting the state of Georgia, by the way. I don't know if you guys have really been paying attention to that, but there's a lot of guys, we'll talk about a lot of defensive players tomorrow that are coming out of the state of Georgia as well. But as of right now, that's who you have committed. And then you have 3 more, bigger targets that we've been talking about here recently. Malachi Lee, it was reported yesterday by Bama Online that doesn't seem like Malachi Lee is going to end up being in Alabama's 2026 recruiting class. He ends up committing to tomorrow, so Michigan, unfortunately, might be the team there. Marky Walbridge, he took a official visit this on the 20th, I believe it was, to Alabama. Same with Wilson Zaire, I believe is how you pronounce his name there. Both of those guys were on campus on June 20th. I assume Zaire, I got him in the Auburn shirt picture right there because, if I'm not mistaken, his brother went to Auburn as well. So seems like that could be the lean there for him. Bryson Cooley, though, he's another guy that also did take an official visit to Alabama. 6'7", 315 pounds. Very, very intrigued there with Bryson Cooley. So if Alabama lands at least one more offensive lineman, probably if it's going to be recent, maybe, or coming up here soon, I would lean probably Bryson Cooley if I'm making a total guess there. But who knows? Like, Malachi Lee's probably the guy that you really, really want. There's a whole lot of time before official signing day. Maybe even if he does commit, to a Michigan or something like that, maybe Alabama, towards the closer to National Signing Day, maybe they could get a Malachi Lee to end up flipping. Now, if Alabama does land E.J. Crowell, Mack Sutter later on this evening, we will put a short out for you guys. Whether it's 1, whether it's 2, we're going to put that out for you guys, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button for me. It's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. We'll keep you guys updated all summer long on the Alabama football recruiting front.